superheroes. Slipped out to the restroom, so she'll be right back. But let's be honest, Oliver would totally win in this spot, right? Danielle Panabaker. Pardon my pun, but I'm very much vibing on Carlos Valdez. Make it all happen, executive producer Andrew Chrysler.
But everything was kind of leading up, always sort of building on both shows in a lot of ways. Toward that, and then subsequently to those, both our original finales, know that we would button, on the first half of the year with those two episodes.
And where did the idea originally come from?
We always, since we've been doing these shows, I think our greatest joy about it was just the universe of it all, and just getting to sort of build up the universe. And so when we went in to talk about the season, both seasons this year with the network, we said, we know it's typical for these kinds of shows to sort of have to stand on their own, and you usually don't do crossovers until later, with the spin-off and the original show. But since these are born out of DC Comics and in the comic books, the crossover element is sort of just it's literally how the characters were born. And are born out of the comic books, and so we felt like we owed it to ourselves and to the fans and to everyone to try and do them sooner rather than later.
As comic book fans yourselves, when you were discussing this crossover, what elements had to go in it, and were there any that sort of fell by the wayside, didn't make it into the episode?
I think one of the biggest things was the sort of argument that Dave and Felicity and Cisco and Caitlin have about who would win in the fight. Because one of the earliest things we talked about is, we're all fans, and we've all sat around when we're, kids or adults, and, in the fight, Superman or Batman, or the Hulk or Wolverine, and we're having it today. And, so the idea that they would fight each other in one of these episodes was one of our earliest ideas, and that the cast members would have that Comic-Con argument on camera was one of our earliest ideas.
Mark, you want to win?
I think I just realized I didn't want to win. I just for my money, what I love about the crossover is that it sort of gives you the best of both worlds. We have our cake and we eat it too. On Flash, you actually get to see Flash versus Arrow. And on Arrow, you actually get to see the two heroes team up. So those are the two things that, as a comic book fan, I always wanted to see. I wanted to see them fight, but I also wanted to see them get along and work to stop the bad guy. And we got a chance to do both.
Yeah. Now, Steve, you had some pretty epic fights between these two episodes. What was the preparation like for that?
It wasn't that much different than a typical episode. I worked with the same stunt team because we essentially lent part of our stunt team to Flash, and they've created their own team. But the actual fight with Grant, which we shot over 3 nights, that was a different experience because of the special effects element, but I think it turned out great.
How much were you actually fighting him, and how much were you fighting, like, the air?
I fought the air a little bit.
But you kicked the air's ass.
I kicked the air's ass.
This episode also had a lot of parts. You know, Grant, Oliver is definitely speaking from experience and saying that Iris and Barry don't have a chance. But do you think Barry still has some hope?
Yeah, absolutely. Barry, I keep saying that Barry doesn't actually have love very high on his priority list right now, as much as he may think about Iris. It's making that happen isn't necessarily the most important thing to him right now. He'll always love her, and I don't think just because Oliver said this to him, I mean, he'll take his advice and maybe not follow through with it right now, but it's the love of his life, and that's not going to change, I don't think.
Their relationship's a little tenuous by the end of this episode,
Yeah.
between the Flash and Iris. What's in store for them? What can you tease of what's coming up?
Barry's going to be honest in the near future about some things. I won't say what that is exactly, but something pretty big.
Fair. Emily and Danielle, it's not often that you guys get to work with other females in Star Labs or the, what are we calling it now, Arrow Cave? Yeah. Foundry. Was that fun for you guys?
It was great for us. We got
Yeah.
to hang out. I think for them as characters, it's nice to work with another intelligent woman that superheroes that they're dealing with.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust. I mean, they're both protecting these great men, and so they have that in common.
And do they both have feelings for these great men?
So many feelings.
Now, Lila and Diggle are engaged. Yay, congratulations. Are we actually going to be seeing a wedding this season?
Yeah.
Through that, are we going to get to see maybe a little bit of a softer side of Diggle?
I don't know about softer.
That was the softest.
That was the softest either. I mean, the stakes are high. Diggle's working in the field. He has a potential wife and a daughter at home to protect. So I don't know if you'll see softer, but you'll see much more engaged because he has a lot more of that.
Now, what's more difficult, being the partner of the Arrow or choosing the best cake
Or choosing.
for wedding?
Oh, the best cake. Oh, I see. The best cake. Right. Oh, I got it. It took me a little time to get it.
All right, he's not.
I got it. Well, definitely working with Arrow is, she said say cake, but it's Arrow. No doubt about it. Cake is easy.
And Carlos, it's very much pointed out in this episode that Flash team is very jovial, but how do you think seeing the darker side of being a superhero team sort of changes Team Flash when we move forward?
I think, as was evident, I think in the screen just now, one of the most fascinating things is that when members of one team in one city go to the other team, the tone of that city sort of starts to affect them. And I think when Barry, Caitlin, and Cisco go over to Starling City, it's very clear to them that they haven't really been taking this as seriously as they could have. And so they sort of start to grapple with the stakes, these are life and death situations. So that's kind of something that affects their growth.
It's so great to see, and just reinforced when you see it on the big screen like this. One of the most rewarding parts for me is to see the actors just literally cross over to these separate shows and how much they hold the screen in the other show. And it shows how lucky we are to have such amazing actors on these shows and what superstars they are. Because they literally because the show is a spin-off doesn't mean it's not, it's a whole other show. But yet they go there, and again, you look up there on the screen, they feel like they fit in, they totally own it. So